I saw a version of this project on Maker's Gonna Learn, and so I want to give credit to them. I have part of a board that I bought at probably Home Depot. I've primed it white. I have this matte chalk paint in the color Celery. I'm thinking about dry brushing some of this honeysuckle pink onto this flower or leaf decor. That's going to be the O of the word love, but I'm not sure yet, so I might use this for that. I'm going to paint the chalk paint on with this little foam brush, and then I'm going to apply this material after putting Heat and Bond on the back and cutting it with my Cricut Maker. So I'll do that and then I'll iron it on. Now the first thing I want to do, so that it can have time to dry while I'm working with my Cricut, is go ahead and get a coat of this chalk paint down. This is very, very thick. I've had this for a really long time. If I need to, I can thin it down with water. Now I'm going to use this sponge. You can buy these at Michael's. You can get them in a little bag, and they're very reasonably priced, especially if you use a coupon. And then I want to dab on the paint. I'm hoping to not have exactly even coverage by using this sponge. I don't want it to just look like one flat color. So I dab it on, and then I go back and with a drier edge just dab some off. The next thing that I want to do is I want to get my fabric prepped with this Heat and Bond. This is the Ultra Hold. It gives a lot of structure to fabrics, and there are two sides to this. There's a smooth paper side, and then there is a rough. This is the actual glue or the adhesive, and it's rough and it's a little bit shiny. The letters will be cut regular, not mirror, and this is going to be on the back. So for the square, it's not a big deal. This is what I'm going to use to cut my L out. And so if I'm cutting that out of, for example, that looks like that'd be a pretty good place to cut from. Or I can just move it up to this corner and cut it here and then use a little excess for under this. You just need to make sure that you have the Heat and Bond facing the correct way. So you want it tacky side or adhesive side up. Now to press this on, I want to use my Cricut Easy Press, and I want to change the temperature to 275. So I'll let that preheat. I think I want to give this a little pressing just to get some of the wrinkles out before I add the Easy Press. The instructions say just to do it for 2 seconds. I'm going to do it for 5. Yeah. Then it also says to let it cool down completely before you remove the backing from the Heat and Bond. So I'll just set that aside. Now the heat and bond is still on the back of this fabric, and I know I'm not using a fabric cutting mat, but since what is attached to the mat is actually a paper backing, I decided to use this. And I also need to change out my blade. This is my rotary blade. In Design Space, I've selected cotton, bonded for my material. And on this first cut, we're just cutting the V and the E. Now it wants me to use the fine point blade, so I'm going to cancel that. And I'm going to go back and select a different fabric. I'm going to go ahead and select denim. Now it prompts me to use my rotary blade, so I think we're good to go. Okay, let's see how that did. There's my V, and it does have the heat and bond on the back. And my E. Now, full disclosure, I did put one coat of this Mod Podge clear acrylic sealer over my paint. So I like the spacing of these letters, the way they were cut. So I think I'm going to lay this down on my board, and then I can just set my letters where they were cut out. And then take up the excess. So general spacing I like. I know it's not straight right now. I will fix everything that needs to be fixed before we move on. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to measure, see if I'm pretty close. And I need to go up some. Two and a half, and right at 2.5. I'm not sure it's straight. And then I think it needs to go toward the edge. Here's the little floral piece. And I got this at Michael's in the wedding section. So I just need to get it to an approximate size so that I can make sure my L and my V are spaced appropriately. Okay, it'll be something like that. I might make it a little oval. But as far as the spacing, I think that will work perfectly fine. Okay, I have my Easy Press Mini, and I'm going to put that on low. And I'm using it so that I can apply heat just to basically where the letters are. And fortunately, I can barely see through this to see where the letters are. Okay, it's not quite up to temperature, but it's going to be good enough. So I think I'll start in the center of the up and down part of this L. Now let's see if that gives it enough time to bond. Okay, it's not moving. Now remember, the heat and bond paper instructions said 2 seconds. And so there, it's up to temp. So it really adheres very quickly. I would not want to leave it on very long or risk burning your paint, or in my case, the coating over the paint. Well, that's bonded very well. I don't see any parts that are sticking up or feel like they want to move. Now for the last step, I had thought about putting some pink paint on this, but I think I like it without. That's just a nice soft look. Now to put the floral piece on, I have my glue gun plugged in. And then this whipped topping container, I have it just to try to make a nice circle out of my floral piece. So I'm just going to wrap this around and then slide it out from underneath. I think that looks pretty good. I'll decide if I want to make it slightly oval as I go. Now, where's the first end? There it is. I think I want to cut a little of this excess wire off, but I definitely don't want to use my good scissors. Okay, I have some wire cutters, I'll just use that. So first thing, I'm just going to put a little glue on that and then glue it on the underside of my floral piece. And I'll clean that up later. Now I don't want this end to be on the top, so I'll just tuck it under. And put a little glue on it also. Okay, I think that's cute. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a little of the hot glue down along this edge. And I'm going to leave it circle. I think that's cute. Press that down. My glue gun has a short cord. Let me just unplug it. Okay, so we'll put a little glue under this top side. And then I'm just going to put dabs here and there where I think it'll get covered. Well, we are done, and that is cute. So, so cute, so easy, so inexpensive. Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. I'm Marilyn. Bye-bye.